क्या फर्क पड़ता है, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, पता नहीं, जो थारी राय सो मारी राय, nothing to do, nowhere to go, देखो सुनो मत बोलो, whenever, whatever you are, be 100% कर्नाटक, किसी को आओ मत कहो, किसी को जाओ मत कहो, ना कुछ पना ना कुछ खोना, who asked you live at 0% level, मौज में रहो, be happy. श्री कृष्णा श्री कृष्णा श्री कृष्णा श्री कृष्णा. गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः, गुरु साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म, तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः, तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः. We live at 3 levels. First is the world where we live. Second is where do we have the experiences of the world. And the third is who is going through the experiences. 3 of them. Field of experience, experience of the field, and the experiencer of the field. 3 of them. Technically, we call it Adi Bhautik, the material world. Second is Adhyatmik, the experiencer world. And the that was the Adidaivik, sorry. And Adhyatmik is the experiencer of the world. 3 of them. So when we are living after our identification with the body, we being human beings, we have to follow certain norms. See, there is a most popular and important shloka which tells 4 things are common between human beings and animals. Ahara, Nidra, Bhaya, Maithunancha. Ahara, eating, we also eat, animals also eat. Nidra, we also need sleep, animals also sleep. Bhaya, fear, a sense of insecurity, we have, animals also have. And the Maithunam, procreation, we also procreate, animals also procreate. If these are the only 4 things in our life, why we should be called as human beings? Therefore, Darwinically speaking, we are all animals. Then what is that which makes us human beings? See? So here the shloka says, Dharmo hi tesham adhiko visheshaha, dharmena hi na pashubhis samana. Now we have dharma. Dharma, do not translate it into religion. You know, words from one language to another language, translation is a compromise in meaning. For example, if you take tongue. In English there is only one word tongue. But in Sanskrit there are 2 words. Tongue means one is rasana, second is jivva. Rasana is that function of the tongue which is used for tasting the food. And jivva is that function of the tongue which is used for talking. When I am talking to you, in Sanskrit we say we are using not tongue, but we are using jivva. And when I am taking the food and tasting it, that time in English we will say, oh, I tasted with my tongue. No, with my jivva, and with my rasana. Therefore, when we translate the Sanskrit words into English, there is a compromise in the meaning. We have to clearly understand. Therefore, one of the most confused translated word is dharma. By dharma they mean the Hindu, Muslim, Christian, Sikh, etc. No. That is not dharma. What is the dharma? Dharma is, the dharma of the fire is burning power. See? If we remove the burning power from the fire, will it be called as a fire? No. Similarly, the dharma of the sugar is sweetness. If there is no sweetness, it looks exactly like sugar. It may be urea, who knows? Therefore, dharma is that which never leaves us. Dharma is always with us. Now, what is the dharma of being a human being? See, human beings are called, again, the word is manushya. Manushya means man. Man means a person. What is a manushya? The one who establishes relations through the agency of mind is called as a human being. Therefore, as a human being, we are brother, sister, husband, wife, mother, father, etc. See? So, when we are living at the body level in the waking state as now, we have to follow certain norms of the dignity of being a human being. See? Animals don't have relations. A cow delivers a baby and the same calf becomes a bull, and for him relation between the mother and the son is gone. He will be ready to procreate with that cow because they are animals. And therefore, when we follow the dharma of a human being, we must have the dignity of living as a human being. You know, with this what happens? These are very important things. With this, we attain self-control. See? How the self-control comes? There was a boy who was flirting. Therefore, he sat on his motorcycle and went somewhere. He saw one girl going ahead. So he thought, let me go and say hi to her. This happened in front of me in Bombay, therefore I am telling you. Because of the traffic jam, I was in the car. And this boy came and from backside, and he wanted to stop and say hi to that girl. So he stopped, and when he saw who was looking like a sweet girl from the back, from the front she was 82 not out. So when he came in front and wanted to say hi, what will he say? Hi, hi. Kisko dekha? See, because what is the training for us? Elders must be respected. They are not meant for indulgence. But for the animals, this is no problem. How simple it is. Therefore, being means we have to remember every moment. Who am I at a given period of time, in a given place, in what relationship? How simple it is. And this is not an obligation, it is a compulsion if we are human beings. Therefore, in Upanishad it comes, Satyam vada dharmam chara swadhyayanma pramadaha acharyaya priyam dhanamavritya prajatantum ma vivatsesi. सत्यान्न प्रमदितव्यम, धर्मान्न प्रमदितव्यम, भूत्येन प्रमदितव्यम, मातृदेवो भव, पितृदेवो भव, आचार्य देवो भव, अतिथि देवो भव. These are the do's and the don'ts for an ideal human being, how he should live and conduct himself in life. And there it is said, these are the rules. We must follow them. And among all of them, few only I'll tell that Matrudevo Bhava, mother is God. See. Now when I call everybody as mother, I call everybody mama. When I call everybody as mother, can I have a thought of indulging with anybody? See? But if I look upon as ladies or girls, then my approach will be different. Therefore, when we are living as the body in this relative world, we must follow certain rules and regulations. And there is another saying in Sanskrit, Dharmo rakshati rakshitaha. Those who follow the traffic rules themselves will protect him. If we break the traffic rules, we will be destroyed. In the same manner, if we follow this dharma, so what is our dharma? Our dharma is this, that Matrudevo Bhava, the mother is God. How important it is. Our whole attitude in life will change. Then Pitrudevo Bhava, the father is God. See? After this is done, then third, the Acharya Devo Bhava, the Guru is God. And ultimately, Atithi Devo Bhava, see God in unknown people. See, everything will change. Like, we come here and here is a statue of Ganeshji. About this, I'll tell you another example. There was one lady from USA, I think, Indian lady. She came to India in some Shiva temple. I happened to be there. So she had a son, maybe about 4 years or so. And you all know, in front of Lord Shiva, there is a Nandi, the bull god. So this child came and he saw it's a beautiful bull. He went and climbed on that and sat. See? Now that child didn't know it is God. Therefore, his interaction was different. And we elderly people, when we are taught right from childhood that Nandi is not a bull, but it is a representative of God, therefore we do and salute. See, so this we have to train ourselves. Now that child was not trained, therefore his behavior was like that. In the same manner, if we have trained ourselves while conducting our business of life, that we have to look upon the world as nothing but manifest God. So the God manifests in our life as mother, as father, as teacher. Teacher means not teacher, the one which is given to you, but the Guru. And the fourth one is the Atithi Devo Bhava. Atithi means an unknown person. Now here also the most important principle to be. See? Once we were going to Badrinath many years before, and Badrinath is in Himalayas, and we had to drive very long, about 14 hours bus drive. So after about 5-6 hours, we had a break. And it was a nice winter, bright sun. So we stopped there. Somebody gave me a cup of tea. See, what I had to do, I don't decide. They decide. Swami, take a cup of tea. What a freedom it is. See? Don't have to think about anything. I stand there, Swami, you take a cup of tea. Okay, I take it. No, I'll take it. You take it. Relax. Such a joy. So, somebody gave me a cup of tea. And I was taking. Now in India, when they see a Swami like me or anybody, they will come and do namaskar. So one lady came, did namaskar. Second one came, did namaskar. And I was taking my cup of tea. Because this is a training. See God in everything. Acharya Devo Bhava. So there was one doctor with me. She was a radiologist. So she says, Swamiji, these unknown people are coming and doing namaskar to you. How do you feel? I said, please hold my cup of tea, don't drink it. Then I told the next lady, I said, Mama, stop. She is my mother. I touch her feet. And then told, if you do namaskar to me, you get 1 kilo of merit. If you do namaskar, salutation, to my mother, you get 1 quintal of merit. Now you decide. The line was diverted there. A huge line. Then I took my cup of tea and went away. Now that doctor, she was nailed. She can't go. One after another, one after another, one after another. And when our time of departure came, then she was searching me where I am. And I was hiding here and there. Finally she caught me. Swamiji, you are nasty. Why did you do like that? I said, Mama, don't become angry. You asked me a question, I replied. What was that? I said, you asked me, when unknown people do namaskar, how do you feel? You felt. There I told her this principle, be very attentive. When we give respect to somebody, that somebody is not benefited. The one who gives respect, he is benefited. How simple it is, my friends. This is living in the dignity of human being. This has to be trained right from childhood. See? Therefore, when we are living as a body in the world, we have to follow certain norms. Those norms are called as human being. Dharma Shastra. See? Therefore, in many places in India, you will see when a child goes to school, first of all, he will go to like this, there is a temple in every house. So he will go do namaskar to the Lord. Then he will go to his grandfather, grandmother, then mother and father. Everybody will go and touch their feet and then go to school. By this he is trained how to respect. And a person who has learned this art of extending respect to others, he will remain always secured in his life. Because he is having the respectful attitude in his life. See, friends. Then the divinity will start manifesting through us. And don't we recognize if somebody, suppose some child has fallen, you happen to go there, that way. So you will go and help the child. What do we think about such a person? See, he helps, is a good person. So what is goodness? Goodness is our inherent divinity. We allow to express. And that is in the form of respect and reverence. See, like we come and do namaskar to Lord Ganesha. Is he benefited? We are benefited. See, simple friends, the more we become aware of this, that if we are human beings, living as human beings, we have to live in the dignity of human being. And the dignity of human being is we must have respect and reverence for everything in this world. See? There is another tradition I'll tell you. When, suppose there is a big gathering, people are sitting on the floor also, and if somebody comes, on his way he happened to kick somebody, dash with his foot. So the tradition you will see, suppose I happen to touch somebody with my foot, immediately I'll bow down and touch his feet and say sorry. Why? Respect. A heart, a mind which carries an attitude of respect will never be miserable in life. Remaining happy effortlessly is being. Becoming happy because I got something is fake. It is not truth. See? Therefore, if we are human beings, dharmo hi tesham adhiko vishesha. So, matrudevo bhavo, we start training ourselves, see God in mother, because she alone takes care of us. Then the father, then the guru, and then atithi, to unknown person. And whenever we look at anybody with a respectful vision, you will never feel uncomfortable. And when you look at somebody with disrespect, with a bitterness, even if it is God, we feel uncomfortable. Because all the experiences are happening in our mind. Therefore, while we are interacting with the world as a human being, the impact of that interaction is on the quality of our mind. And what is the ultimate quality? Being happy. That's all. Because if we take our life, what is our life? Only two things. Technically, pravrutti and nivrutti. Pravrutti means involvement. Nivrutti means withdrawal. Both these things are done for what? Whatever we do, are we doing anything for becoming miserable? For example, most of you are married. Tell me, who of you got married to become miserable? I will not ask the next question. That I do not know, that you know better than me. So we get married for what? For getting happiness. But then we regret, we recognize our mistake. Then we separate. That is also for what? For happiness. In short, our whole life struggle is to get happiness. We are seeking happiness. Instead of seeking happiness, express happiness. So first principle being is what? We must have reverential attitude towards everything and every being. So simple, friends. But if you see the world, there is so much of hatred, frustration, and what under the name of God? See, friends, if we are able to accept things as they are, we are in tune with the divine. See? And therefore, these aspects of our day-to-day life must be recognized. So first was reverence. It is in our benefit. Second thing is, when we have a reverential attitude, we are happy because all the life we are struggling to get happiness. Friends, stop that. Don't do anything to get happiness. See? Like one person, very senior person, highly educated, he asked me, Swamiji, please don't mind my question. I said, you also don't mind my answer. So his question was, you give talks, move around the whole world. round the year for so many years you are doing. Do you think people are changing, people are benefited? I said, no, they are not changing, they are not benefited. Then why do you do that? Life is a time pass. Friends, whenever you live your life as a time pass, success and failure are equal. See? When success and failure becomes equal, you are happy. See? Therefore, what should be our approach in life? So this is given again in Bhagavad Gita. Normally, what we do is for getting happiness. Suppose I do something, then what is behind the action? If I do this thing, I should get that thing, and if I get that thing, then I will be happy. This is how normal equation. Now, I do something, and if I get that thing, so what is happening? Action is happening in the present, the result is coming in the future, future never comes. Again, analyze. Do we have an option to live yesterday or to live tomorrow? No option. We have to live today. We cannot live yesterday, we cannot live tomorrow. So, take an example. Suppose I ask you, 297 days before, at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, where were you? Struggling. 297 days. You have gone in the past, struggle. Suppose I ask you, after so many days, at 11 o'clock, what you will be doing? Again you go and count so many days. And suppose I ask you, now where you are, do you have to think? See, so what we do, whatever we do, if I do this thing today, tomorrow I will get that result, and then if that result comes, then I will be happy. If that result doesn't come, I will be miserable. So what I am doing unknowingly, I am postponing my own happiness in the future period of time. Those who postpone their own happiness in the future period of time, even God cannot make them happy. See, my friends, so we have to be happy. Don't become happy after getting what you want. No becoming happy. Being happy. Therefore, being is in the present, becoming is in the future. And as it is said, tomorrow never comes. There is no option, my friends. So, what has to be done? Is there any option possible, or we have to just suffer like this? There is, if you think properly. Friends, all our problems are because of wrong thinking. Wrong thinking cannot be improved by not thinking. Wrong thinking can be improved by right understanding. Our understanding should be clear. If that understanding is not clear, nobody in the world can help us. See? So, first principle we have to clearly understand. Do not seek happiness through action. Because what is life? Life is activity. And if we want to seek happiness through action, our whole life will be wasted. And that wastage goes to such an extent, I do not know how the people believe. This is the height of foolishness. if you do this thing, and then after death you will go to heaven, and there you will get all the comforts. Now you are miserable. Future, who knows what is heaven, where is heaven? See, friends, don't get carried away by those big bluffs. See? Heaven is defined in Kathopanishad. Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanaasti na tatra tvam na jaraya bibeti ubhe tirtva ashanaya pipase shokatigo modate swarga loke. Swarga is not a place like PE is a place. Joburg is a place. Like the heaven is not a place. Then heaven is an experience where there is freedom from fear. See, in deep sleep we have no fear. There was a group of youngsters going for hiking in the forest. And one of them, lazy like me, was hanging on his own, in his own mood. And it became evening. All others have gone somewhere. Now he has nowhere to go. No light, no nothing. And tired. And forest. Oh God, what to do, what to do? The best way is, he opened his tent, fixed it, got inside, and he was so tired, in no time he slept. Because of the human smell, the tiger came for his food. And this boy was so tired that he did not know where he is sleeping. And therefore, in the deep sleep, he started snoring. The tiger got frightened, somebody is there, and he went away. See? Because for that man, there was nobody else other than himself. For the tiger, there was somebody else. Upanishad says, Dvitiya tvai bhayam bhavati. See? Wherever there is a sense of otherness, fear is guaranteed. What is heaven? Fearlessness. We suffer in life not because of death. We suffer because of fear of death. See? So simple it is. Many people ask us, Swamiji, what happens after death? Those who are alive, they are happy. Thank God, gone. No, tell what happens after death. See, friends. So what is heaven? Heaven is freedom from the fear of old age and death. Fear from the worries of hunger and thirst. Fear from the worries of delusion and grief. These 6 fears, when they are no more operating, you are in heaven. Therefore remember, heaven is not a place. Heaven is the quality of your experience, which is free from freedom. See, I go sometimes to China. Now there I go for my satsanga, yoga, etc. And the Indians, they know only eating. So some of my Indian friends ask me, Swamiji, when you go to China, what do you eat there? I said, come on, I go there for satsang, not for eating. But even there, what do you eat there? And I like playing fool with the people. I said, see, there they make the cockroach pickles. They are so tasty. Are you born in this world to eat all the time? There is something higher in life. See, therefore, instead of seeking happiness in this world through action or withdrawal, express happiness in both action and withdrawal. Whatever you have to do it happily or don't do it. But we are like the air hostesses. When you enter, welcome, inside they are burning. See, friends. Therefore, this simple principle, whatever you have to do it happily. If you don't want to do, don't do it, but happily. Come on, I can't do it. I'm sorry. Over. No bitterness. And see what happens. We have no option whether we want to live now or afterwards. We have no option. Neither can we live yesterday, nor can we live tomorrow. We live only now and today. Second point. All actions happen not yesterday nor tomorrow. All actions happen now and here. I am talking to you now and here. Now if I imagine, because speech is an action, if I imagine after my talk is over, then you will stand up and give me a standing ovation, and then I will become happy. So what I am doing unknowingly, I am postponing my happiness in the future period of time. And after the lecture is over, you are interested in the lunch. So you will not even look at me, go for lunch. And I will become frustrated. See, I give such a talk, but nobody appreciates. So while giving the talk, I am not happy. And afterwards you didn't say it is good, I am not happy. So who is digging my own grave? Myself. On the contrary, if whatever we do, it is an excuse to express happiness, even God cannot make you miserable. See? And why we are seeking happiness? Because being happy is our natural state. Misery is not our natural state. Take an example. Take a pan, put water in that and apply fire. What will happen? The water will become hot. Then withdraw the fire. Then what will happen? The acquired heat by the water will be slowly released. And the water wants to come back to its natural status, is it not? Exactly the same way, we are heated up by wrong understanding about the world, and therefore we suffer because of the boiling experiences of anger, frustration, etc. And then we take away the pan from the water, we withdraw from the world, go to sleep, and when we are in sleep, like the water releasing its acquired heat, in the same manner we release our acquired miseries and we come back to our being, which is bliss. See, my friends, can it be simpler than this? But our whole life is a struggle. We want to please somebody. We want to make somebody happy. Don't do that. God has failed to make us happy. And we, the miserable, want to make others happy. See? You be happy, that's it. The flowers, they don't give fragrance to anybody. They have the fragrance. Anybody goes there, you are welcome. Nobody goes, who cares? क्या फर्क पड़ता है? In short, do not justify you are miserable in life. Make The misery is miserable. See? And this can happen only by analyzing and learning our day-to-day experiences. All what I am telling you is not from books. Every day, every interaction is our guru. Don't look for a guru somewhere. All those who have come to save this world, they were shaved off. The world has always been like this. There is nothing new in this world. Not understanding this, we start suffering and make others suffer. See? Like, I do not know here, but in some places I have seen, youngsters are, whatever their life may be, they want to sleep late in the morning. 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock, etc. And oldies in their house. For them, waking up early in the morning is no issue because whole night they don't sleep. And therefore, when they see the youngsters sleeping up to 8, 9 o'clock, they become jealous and become angry. Get up, so let them sleep. You enjoy yourself. Don't get involved in anybody's life. We have destroyed our life, let them destroy their life. No, but we want to help them in destruction. Like the flower doesn't go anywhere to give fragrance. It has a fragrance. Anybody comes, you are welcome. If nobody comes, who cares? Therefore, be happy for being happy, not making others happy. God has failed. He told me. I am struggling to make the world happy, but you are on the wrong path. As much we have right to be happy, we equally have right to be miserable. See, my friends, therefore, the simplest technique to be is express happiness. And what are the channels of expression of happiness in our life? Body, speech, mind. 3 things. So, through the body, whatever we do it happily. If you don't want to do, don't do it. Whenever you do anything happily, you will not be tired in life. Like Dr. Jeff was asking me, Swamiji, you keep on running around the world, so many places. Don't you get tired? I said, I will get tired if I am doing it on fees. I am doing it for the joy of it. I don't want anything from anybody. When you express joy, you don't count. See, friends, so whatever we have to do, if you do joyfully, you will never be tired in life. And we get tired. Uncle, what happened to you? I don't know, yaar. I'm getting very bored and tired in life. What you have done? Nothing. So he's tired of doing nothing. Look. See, friends. So, God has given us this body to work dynamically. Don't keep yourself free. Be occupied. There must be something to look forward in our life. Now what happens? We get out of the sleep in the morning. Now, what I have to do? If there is nothing, let's eat something. The highest achievement, eat, oh eat. Convert the food into garbage. That's it. See, friends, we have to keep ourselves physically occupied happily. Those who are not physically occupied, they are all the time burdened to themselves and burdened to others. Should be so busy that if the death comes, we can tell, hey, sorry, I'm busy. See the joy of life. See? Therefore, physical activities must be a channel to express happiness. I'll tell you one example about it. I went to somebody's house as my professional hazard. So, the food was given, food was good, and I said, oh, so lovely food, thank you so much for the nice food. Many times I say this only to protect myself, there is no other reason. Because how many times can you say lies? So, when I said like this thing, her husband said, Swamiji, you should come to our house and stay. I will also get this lovely food every day. I said, because I don't come every day, therefore the food is lovely. If I come and stay like you in your house, fresh from the fridge, it will come out. And then it will go into the microwave. And then dead food enlivened by the microwave will be given to you as a pindadan. Swaha. See? No, not like that. Then that lady said, Swamiji, what he is telling is true. Today, the food has come out so good, so tasty. I don't know how. I said, I also do not know. You think about. Then she said, Swamiji, when I came to know today you are coming to our house for lunch or dinner, I was so happy. Whenever you do anything happily, it comes out to be best. See? What meditation? On the contrary, frustration. I want to do meditation. Don't make noise. Oh. Or else, look at your forehead. And then they tell, close half eyes. But how to close half eyes, Swamiji? Please tell me. You are a useless fellow. How many eyes you have got? 2. Half? 1. Meditation. Don't struggle the wrong way. See? But we get carried away only by that. And struggle. Don't. Relax. So whenever we do anything physically in a happy mode, you don't expect anything in return. Because what for you are doing? For getting happiness? No. For expressing happiness. See? Let us not be the beggars of happiness. Let us be the distributors of happiness. Don't we like somebody is happy all the time? If somebody is happy all the time, we like him or her. What an experience it will be if we are happy all the time. And that happiness doesn't mean like a mad, why? Happy. No, mad. Happy means living at 0 complaint level. No complaints. We have complained about even God. Oh God, why did you create this world? Just to trouble you. See, my friends, therefore, being happy at the body level is express happiness through every action. Second, expressing happiness through the second channel is speech. When you talk soft, talk sweet, no bitterness, no vengeance. See, you must have come across. There are some people, they don't talk, they bark. Why you come? Why are you standing there? Anudvegakaram vakyam satyam priyahitam chayat. Talk in such a manner that the person listening to you doesn't get hurt by our words. See? And who can talk like that? If you are talking happily. See, friends. Therefore, being happy is not seeking happiness, but expressing happiness. through action, whatever we do. Through speech, whatever we speak. No bitterness, no negative feeling about anybody in our speech. And the third is we express through our mind. See, if we are expressing happiness through mind, what will happen? Take an example. This is just example, it is not the truth. I can create example millions, but they are all wrong. They are not wrong, they are not real. I have a girlfriend. Why I shouldn't have or what? So I have a girlfriend. And I am so happy. So I go to her. Honey, darling, today I am so happy, I want to cut you into small pieces. Will it ever happen? Happiness is not a destructive force. See, my friends, this is being. So, we become a source of happiness to everyone around us through action, through speech, through thoughts. When you think happily, you can never think negative. Go and kill that fellow. No. See? Oh Lord, they know not, forgive them. This doesn't come by dialogues. It comes from within. See, friends, the more we become aware of this, see, then we are marching from becoming to being. This journey of starting from becoming, ending in being is like what? It is a journey not in time, not in space, and not in action. This journey is like a husband starts his journey to become a man, nay, to be a man. So how much time, energy and distance the husband will have to cross to be a man? Only knowing the simple principle that essentially I am man, I have to play the role of a husband. That's it. Husband is not real. When the unreal we take real, suffering begins in our life. You know, this I learned from some of you only. I told you, you're all my gurus. In Mumbai it happened many years before. There was some kind of function in somebody's house and that mother of that lady told, you cannot be present for this function because it is only for the married girls. You are not, so you go out. But what is wrong? Don't ask me, go and ask Swamiji. So she came to me. Swamiji, you know I am divorced. I said, yes, I know. Mummy asked me to ask you. I said, you tell her, I don't want to marry you. No, not for that purpose. We should be clear, isn't it? Said, I don't. No, not that way. I was married, then now I am divorced. My mother says, you are not having a husband, so you cannot attend this function. Now tell me, after divorce, did I become a widow? What is the answer? Divorce means what? She is no more having a husband. When a lady's husband dies, there is no more husband. Therefore, she is called as widow. Now, after divorce also, she has no more a husband. So, is she a widow? And if she is widow, where the husband has gone, where the wife has gone, and after divorce, they stay together as friends. So where the husband and wife have gone? They have no existence. The appearances, when they are taken real, we suffer in life. Then use them, but don't suffer because of them. There is nothing to be done, my friends. Only correct your thinking process. That's all. All the problems are born because of wrong thinking. Wrong thinking can be corrected by right understanding. Again and again, educate yourself by learning from every single experience of life. See? Therefore, don't seek happiness. Discover happiness through action, through speech, and through thinking. And think in such a manner that you are not having any bitterness, negativity towards anybody in life. See, friend, it's so important. And when this is practiced by us for a long period of time, it becomes our second nature. And that can be strengthened by remaining more and more in the present. How to remain in the present? Do not talk about your past or ask anybody about their past. Indians are specialized in that. Anywhere, Swamiji, where are you from? When were you born? What was your date of birth? Why were you born? And was it a normal delivery or a cesarean? Is it necessary? Therefore, one of our Mahamantra, before we talk to somebody, ask a question to yourself. Is it necessary to talk? I guarantee you, my friends, 99% cases, you will answer to yourself, there is no need to talk. Because when we talk to others, we talk the past. When we talk to ourselves, we talk the future. Net result, we are not in the present. When you are not in the present, you are miserable. And mind cannot survive in the present. Mind dissolves in consciousness. Consciousness is being. So simple it is, my friends. Not difficult at all. Work again and again on this. Therefore, slowly and steadily, we start focusing attention on the mind. That the mind is either going in the past, memories, or going in the future. Like we have food for our body, the food of the mind is past memories, future worries, and present comparisons. Stop these three. Mind will dissolve in pure consciousness. For that, we told you a technique in the meditation class. Technique is very simple. Make absence as an object of experience. Absence is not an object. How can we make it? Okay, absence of something. Now what thing? Make absence of sound as object of experience. What is absence of sound? Silence. Be attentive. Listen to silence. And see what is happening. You know, ears can hear only sounds. Ears cannot hear silence. But when we are telling you, listen to silence means what? Think again. Listening to silence means we are not disturbed by any sounds. So somebody says, you are dumb. We are listening to silence. Meaning, we are listening to the sound, but we are not getting disturbed. We are not against anything. Like the space is not against anything. We are not against waking, dream, deep sleep, samadhi. Yes, they come and go. We are the same. This is being, which is supporting all the changes, but doesn't get influenced by any change, is being. Be that and be happy. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om.